Thank you to all of you for being here today. I'm here to talk about the buy problem in financial services and how to tackle that, taking a careful look at three aspects of the buy problem. For my section of today, we will go through three sections. And in the interest of time, of course, we will go relatively quickly through these. We're going to first talk about how consumers shop for financial products. We're going to then talk about what the buy problem is and why it matters to financial brands, financial services firms, and their partners, agencies, etc. We're going to then finally speak about how retail financial providers and their partners can tackle the buy problem, what you can do about it. So without further ado, I want to dive right in and start talking about how consumers shop for financial products. And what's interesting about this is, and before I dive into the data and some of the slides that we have here, I want to say that while a lot about consumer behavior has obviously changed in the last 20 years and even dramatically in the last 5 years, some aspects of financial services shopping have not changed. And some of those are really important and will help guide some of the actions you can take, not all of them, of course, but some of them, in order to tackle this buy problem that we'll talk about within the digital space for shopping for financial products. So first, let's talk about how big this opportunity is. And the answer, in short, is huge. Roughly 100 million U.S. adults, actually a little bit more than that, shop for one or more, that's often more, financial products in a given year. So about 44% of all U.S. online adults. Equally important is what's driving financial product purchasing. And this is really important to know, and it's one we've known for a long time. As I said, some things haven't changed in the last couple of decades. One of those is what's driving financial product purchasing, and that is life events. Life events are the number one driver. I tend to say number one with a bullet. And this is interesting because financial services, unlike many other industries where there are many reasons that might drive someone to purchase, here there are some other factors, and I want to be very clear. I am not saying that life events are what drive brand choice in financial product purchasing. I'm not claiming that this even drives channel behavior in financial product purchasing. But the catalyst, the need to get a credit card or open a checking account or start the process of applying for a mortgage or a loan, et cetera, tends to be, more often than not, a life event that occurs to someone. So what you're looking at here, the baseline, as you remember from the last slide, is 44%. So people who have gone through each of these life events over-index on the likelihood to have applied for a financial product. And when you do any one of these, it shoots straight up. Right? So to give you a sense, the vast majority, nearly two-thirds of folks who experience a life event of some sort tend to then open or buy a financial product. So this is really important. This is number one with a bullet. And this is what's driving much of the rest of their behavior. When we break down how they shop for financial products, what we see in Forrester's terms is 4 steps. So there are more steps in the overall relationship with financial providers, but I want to zero in on these. Discover, and one way to think about this, discover is awareness. It is becoming aware. It's often search. It might be the first 3 to 5 minutes on a bank brand's or insurance brand's website. It's those first few impressions. It's kind of the first date, or really first impression, I guess is the right way to say it. It's the Tinder experience with that brand or with that product. Second step is explore, and this is really what we traditionally call research, right? And this is not only digital research, but as I'll tell you in just a minute, it's the vast majority of research is now through digital touchpoints, especially the early stages of this research. And then we get to the buy, and our definition of buy is the moment that customer clicks apply, right? And these are thousands of people every single second, right? This is where all those millions come into play. And whether you, as a financial services brand, are converting those folks makes huge difference. For the average bank, as I'll tell you later, it means the differences of millions of dollars of revenue, or potential revenue, or potentially lost revenue. And then after that comes onboarding. But we're going to zero in, as you can see on the highlight here, we're going to zero in on the buy part. Because what we're seeing here is that over the last 15 years, we've seen a growing gap between the percentage of financial services shoppers who research online and the percentage who ultimately buy online. And I'll show you some data that shows that very clearly, illustrates that very clearly in just a few minutes. But right now I want to talk about what we are seeing. We've seen some good steps taken by bank brands, by their partners, by agencies, etc. One of those is really zeroing in on some of the tools that customers most need on a bank's website, less often on their mobile apps or mobile websites, especially mobile websites, which are far more important during the shopping shopping journey for new prospects. So this is one example from Scotiabank, a Canadian bank, a really clean, easy-to-use product selector tool. Right, so we're seeing great stuff here. And this is where I want to take a quick moment and say that today, among folks who do research a product that they apply for, so there are still quite a few folks who don't do any research. They simply get a direct mail piece and send it right back in, right, something like that. Or they just go to a branch and buy it because they already have a relationship with that bank. So there's still some folks who don't research. But among the folks that do research, the vast majority of researchers are now using digital touchpoints. That's why these are becoming more and more important. Another digital touchpoint that remains critical, even though it's sometimes its death knell has been at least claimed to be heard, is email. Email is continuing to play a key role. This is one, I think, a pretty solid example from a banking provider in the U.S. It is email marketing that's specific to a life event, right? In this case, actually, I should say an annual event, which is taxes. They actually talk about life events within that scope. That brings you to the public website where there's some important information, some educational content, and then alongside that, it may not be the perfect design, but it's really pretty strong, are some calls to action, and then from there, some clear calls to action towards, in this case, a product specific to that life event, which is health savings account, specific to the life event of the shopper in their customer journey, but also within the wider framework of taxes. So with that said, another digital touch point that is gaining momentum and certainly gaining prominence, although still is a mixed bag, is of course mobile. When we look at mobile, it is playing an increasingly vital role. So a data point I often give is when people are shopping for home loans, when consumers are shopping for home loans, they are as likely to use a third-party comparison site via mobile as they are to go directly to a lender's mobile presence, that is their mobile website most often. But what we're seeing is a mixed bag. So on the left here, a big bank brand that certainly does a lot right, but when using search within the mobile space, it yields a non-mobile optimized website. That's very problematic. Our research shows the majority of mobile shoppers for a financial product, when they encounter non-optimized content, will simply leave that. That's what we're starting to talk about, lost revenue, and we're getting towards the buy problem. And then some pretty good examples on the right here. This is from USAA, and also as a cross-channel component, I'll mention this email copy section, which obviously aligns with some of the shopping that we'll talk about later, cross-channel shopping for financial products. But here's the thing. Despite mobile's near ubiquity, what we're seeing is that consumers are still relatively wary, and I would argue quite wary, of mobile security. So we ask consumers about how secure they feel making purchases on one of each of these touch points, right? So PC, that is online, a website via PC, a tablet device, and a smartphone device. And as you can see, it's really like a set of staircase almost, right? So far higher perceived security. I want to be very clear. This is all about perceived security. There are elements here about real security as well, and actual security and risk components. But even zeroing in on perceived security, what we're seeing is that customers remain wary. What this means is that you, as a bank brand, as a financial services brand, need to be headed towards Omni-Channel, need to be allowing those customers to shop in a way that they choose.